All right, everyone. Welcome to Imagine Blue. I'm OC,
I'm Crystal.
I'm Chuku.
Scott.
and we're here to talk about the things that we've been watching this week and just recently. But yeah, the biggest thing on my mind right now. This is the preview week for Rings of Power on Amazon Prime, and so I just finished last night watching the first two episodes that they released. They released the first two episodes. And yeah, I this honestly has been the biggest show that I've been anticipating this entire year, and I was not disappointed with the previews. I know you watched it, but you two haven't watched it.
Yeah.
What did you feel about it?
I thought it was good. I thought it was true to the spirit of the movies specifically, like the style that it was shot in. There's a lot of like great like close-up shots where I'm like, I was actually like tearing up seeing some of that stuff, and then like hearing the music even. I was like, wow, this is like so reminiscent of my experience in the theaters watching Lord of the Rings. And I think it's really promising. It's I know we're going to go into like House of the Dragons later, but like it's like the lighthearted counterpart to that, which is what it should be, because that's like what Lord of the Rings is, you know? And so, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. You mentioned that it was like preview week. Does that mean like it's not
Premiere week? Did I say preview?
Oh, yeah, you said preview week.
I meant premiere.
Okay, premiere week. Like,
My bad.
Does
That's
this mean
crazy.
we can't? I was like worried that I'm not going to get the next episode for like weeks
No.
or something.
Premiere week. My bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
no, it was great.
Okay.
And we're not getting too spoilery with it because you guys are planning on watching it, right?
I mean,
no.
this is gonna be tough for me because again, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings, so I feel like I have
Okay.
to watch that to get there.
You
but
probably should watch it.
Yeah.
but it's on my list of things to watch. For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but everything the production is great. It's like taking a scene from the movie almost,
Yeah.
because like the costumes, the set design, the music, the lighting, like everything is very true to the films. If you're a fan of the films, I think you'll find something to enjoy.
It definitely felt very much like we're back in Middle Earth, even more so than like honestly, even more so than the
Hobbit movies?
The Hobbit movies, because the thing with the Hobbit movies, the critique that I think is a valid criticism of those movies is their over reliance on CG. It kind of hampered the experience of the Hobbit movies, and then you can tell with this show, the first two episodes, they're on that practical, the practical sets, practical makeup, all of that stuff, and I'm sure that CG is still being utilized, but it's not the focus like it was with the Hobbit movies, and so I think that they are doing a really great job of just giving it the same feel as those classic movies, which is why I low-key don't feel like suggesting the show to somebody who hasn't watched the movies. I think it is playing so much on the connection that we have, and I also feel like it requires some prior knowledge in order to fully grasp what's going on.
Maybe. I think it's a very low point for entry. Like they do their best to kind of give you a little bit of background, and they present the issues right away, and they present like the antagonist and the protagonist like pretty clearly.
And to be fair, this is a prequel technically to the Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is a prequel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It happens beforehand, so it's technically a prequel.
So I hate to say it because I want people to watch the show obviously and support it, but I think you're right. I think it will hit a lot harder if you watch the movies. It is
That's the thing. It's like the people's enjoyment.
It is a pleasure to, as like a Lord of the Rings fan, to jump into the series than if someone like didn't
if this
really
is your
watch
first time,
those. Yeah.
I don't know if this should be your first time
Yeah.
experiencing Middle Earth.
I don't know if it would resonate as much because it's like nothing matches like the films, right?
No.
So if you watch those first, get a little bit of that nostalgia. Like you could tap into that nostalgia, I feel like. And the movies are timeless. So I think if anything, like, do your best, like go back, watch at least one, maybe watch Fellowship. And then, like,
I'm gonna rewatch them all.
Yeah. I'm definitely want to watch them. So it's not like something like Cobra Kai where you can just watch the series and you don't really need to watch like Karate Kid to really
Not at that
it-
level, honestly, because like Cobra Kai has like flashbacks to the original movies, and while I think, but the thing is, like, if you've never watched The Karate Kid, are you gonna have that much fun with Cobra Kai? Like, you'll still enjoy
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, you'll still enjoy it, but I don't think you're gonna have as much fun watching these kids who are now adults with their own families and seeing the dynamic between, we saw how Ralph Macchio's character grew up in that first movie, and now we see him as a parent raising children who are completely opposite of who he was as a kid, and we get to see those dynamics at play, and it's not as good, in my opinion. You won't have that same level of interaction with the show if you've just never seen any of the original movies.
That part.
And I think that would translate to something like The Lord of the Rings and The Rings of Power, where it's like you can probably watch it, but you're kind of thrown into this, high fantasy world where a ton of stuff is happening. And if you don't have any like prior knowledge where you can connect it, it's like, okay, this is what they're talking about. This is connected to that we already know. It's like you're kind of more lost.
I guess it's an interesting thing because it's like, as far as the whole like prequels and sequels kind of a thing, it's like, there are some shows like Dragon Ball Z where you don't really need to watch Dragon Ball and you can still enjoy it, right? Like it's it almost feels like you're watching a different complete show when you watch like the original one. So, but then
quick question.
Yeah.
Can you see my face?
No, I can't.
Can you see Chuku's face?
I can, yeah.
Can you see Chuku's face?
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
Like is the mic
being blocked
blocking
by the
him?
mic.
Oh, like as I'm looking at you guys now.
Yeah.
I can kind of see Chico.
Okay, I cannot see OC's face at all. I
just
think
wanna see Scott's
I
face.
think I'm going to grab something real quick
Okay.
to make this easier for me and OC.
All right. I think it's good. It's a good distance. All right.
We are back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that interruption.
Ignore the change in scenery. So where were we? We were talking about Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power.
yeah.
And I was saying we were comparing it to Cobra Kai. Yeah, I think that the idea of suggesting this show to people who have not seen the Lord of the Rings, it's almost like, because I don't want it to be a situation where, because somebody like this could be somebody's first experience with Middle Earth, and it doesn't like resonate with them in the same way, and that could potentially turn somebody off from fully enjoying it.
It's just not optimal.
Yeah.
And don't you want the optimal experience with Middle Earth?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's a fair point.
In fact, go back and read the books. Start
It
with
would
the
be like-
Silmarillion.
It would be like having somebody's first experience with Star Wars be
the new
like-
ones?
Or
sure, like be like Last Jedi, or I was gonna say Attack of the Clones.
Oh,
like
okay.
it would be like if that was your first experience with Star
Okay,
Wars.
what about on that note of Star Wars, what about The Mandalorian? Because I know a lot of people who've never watched Star Wars, but they had a good time with The Mandalorian.
You know what? That's actually a good comparison, kind of.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a solid comparison.
Solid.
I would say that it goes back to the original point where I still feel like people who had the experience of Star Wars
Yeah.
probably enjoyed it better
Yeah.
Agree.
than somebody who's like, oh, this is their first time watching anything Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I think that it did benefit from the fact that it was just such a good show, Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And so this Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, it depends on whether or not this season is going to be solid.
Okay, actually, a question about Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm.
So, are the characters like the same characters that are going to be in Lord of the Rings, or these are different people? in
There's
general?
some of the same characters.
Yes. The
Okay.
elves like live forever, so
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
why.
They live
Okay.
forever until like they get killed.
Because, for example, like let's take Better Call Saul. I feel like that's a good example where it is better to watch Breaking Bad, mainly because
Yeah.
the way it ends, takes time after Breaking Bad. But even before all that, a lot of those things, because the
It's like
character
a
of Saul,
lead up.
yeah, the character
Yeah.
of Saul Goodman is something like that. But with a show where it's not the same characters, but we're exploring the universe, that's where it depends. It's
Well,
questionable.
this is very much the same characters.
There's a lot of Easter eggs to like
Yeah,
the
and
movies,
there's-
to be honest.
There's a lot, like
Yeah.
even I was surprised. Like, I didn't know we were gonna see Durin in this show.
Yeah, that was.
And
I was amazed.
in the world of like the Lord of the Rings, the dwarves are referred to as Durin's folk, like the descendants of Durin, and he's like this legendary figure that is like in the ancestral history of the dwarves. And I didn't really expect to see him in this show because I'm like, oh, he's just like such a legendary figure. Like he's beyond, you know, he must go back so far. But the fact that he's here is like, oh man, it's so interesting because he's just a prince in this show, and it's so interesting to see how, or if we're gonna get a sense of how he develops into this like huge legendary figure in this world.
Where were they? Were like in Moria, right, or whatever.
They were in Khazad-dûm,
Oh,
which is
okay.
another thing because they're in this place that is later going to be Mordor, and it's like it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're building Mordor and they don't know it yet. It's like, oh man, but if you don't recognize the names of these places, if you don't recognize the names of these people, then a lot of it will kind of go over your head because you haven't had those.
The impact isn't there.
That's fair. That's fair.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I'll definitely rewatch the movies beforehand.
Yeah.
And then
What about House of Dragons?
Yeah.
How you guys feel about that?
So
that's
you
what we're here to talk about.
You guys haven't watched
No.
it.
No.
House of Dragons.
I'm actually like super curious with you, Crystal, because I believe we mentioned how we weren't gonna watch it, but you did, right?
Yeah, I.
What changed your mind?
Drank the Kool-Aid.
I have
Yeah,
thoughts on this.
So I don't know if it's just like the marketing or what, but like, I mean, the night of the premiere, the next day everyone was like, it broke records, everyone watched it, like everyone and their mothers, like, and I was even on calls at work and they're like, hey, did you guys watch it? And someone was like, oh, I didn't watch it. And, you know, it's like, I want to level with my coworkers, but like, I watched it and personally thought it was pretty good. What about you?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I just think it's funny how all of these people were talking trash about Game of Thrones while the trailers for House of Dragon were going on, and then the premiere comes and it broke HBO Max records. Like, I'm just saying, people seem to have just been salty that they were missing out on some Game of Thrones.
I mean, like, were they talking trash about Game of Thrones? You said during the trailer for House of Dragons?
Well, while the marketing was going on, everybody was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so bad." Everything like that was the general.
I heard
consensus.
more of that for Rings of Power than like House of Dragon. I didn't hear like a crazy negative sentiment. I think obviously people felt that they were burned with like how Game of Thrones ended, but I think the people have always wanted like good House of Dragons content.
Maybe they're just like giving it a second chance, you know, like
I'm sure that like, but the fact I just think it's funny that it had such a huge like impact. But as far as my own experience with the show, the first 2 episodes of that show are out now, and I'm enjoying it. It's a good show. We're back in this world of Westeros.
just tell me how it ends, okay? No, don't tell me the details. Just feel like,
well, it's a prequel, so we know how it ends.
That's true. That's true.
They all die. Plot-wise,
all the Targaryens die.
But if it's a good show, after it finishes, tell me.
It's the same, just like Rings of Power to the Lord of the Rings movie. This series is like
rewards
it like
you
just
for knowing.
picks up where it left off. With the way you felt the last time you felt really good about like watching Game of Thrones, it picks up there on that feeling. Like the tension is there. It presents like, you know, the issues and the antagonists and protagonists really well, and they're really interesting. There's like a great like jousting tourney scene. It's like, I love seeing medieval sports. Like, you know, they draw you in. It's a good first 2 episodes.
I'm curious. So just like Game of Thrones, is it focusing on different characters within that, you know, within Dany's world, not Dany's area,
Targaryens,
like different Targaryens, or is it just one Targaryen thing?
It's a lot of things.
It's a lot. It's not necessarily. I think the focus has been on like the main focus has been on Rhaenyra, and she's like the princess.
Okay.
And
Daemon.
Damon,
the scorned
is
second brother,
his uncle. So there's like a kind of Scar Simba dynamic going
Okay.
on
yeah,
there.
a Hamlet, if you will.
Hamlet, yeah. It's
Interesting.
kind of like,
Oh, see,
Yeah.
let me grab that. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Because Damon is the second son, and I mean you'll see it right away when
Yeah.
you start the
And
series.
Matt Smith, who plays Damon, he's really good.
He's sinister, and we know
Yeah.
this from Morbius. I'm kidding.
Really? I didn't watch Morbius.
I didn't watch Morbius. I've just seen the memes, and I know he's the villain in Morbius.
I didn't know that.
But no, he's great. Everyone is really solid. I love Rhaenyra. I think she's really solid, and it's like, I don't know, like I feel like I can like kind of more relate to her because she's just like a girl that's like trying her best, and like I don't know, there wasn't really like characters I felt like I could relate to and like in the regular like Game of Thrones original series, but I'm like, dude, like Rhaenyra's freaking cool, and like
She is.
yeah, and yeah, it's just good. The music's the same. I think they have Raymond Djawadi back on board, right? Like doing the music for the show, and it's just that feeling that you get of like tension from like the Game of Thrones series.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they brought it back. And
Well, I'm glad you two like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll still wait
I
wait
mean,
for what?
for it to finish.
What? just watch it. Just watch it. It's good. Like we're telling you right now. Like
I don't know.
it's solid.
I mean, it's like the Game of Thrones thing where it's like it's good, and it's sort of like even She-Hulk, right?
Oh yeah.
She-Hulk's first episode was entertaining,
And the second.
and then now the second and third. Well, I didn't watch the latest one. Which
I saw the third one. I didn't really
saw
think.
the
I think the
third one,
third
too.
one was kind of not that great.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna wait for the third one.
What I'm
But
saying
the thing
is,
is,
they start off strong, these shows, and then like they just
well, okay. To
die.
be fair, I don't think you can put
I
Game
agree.
of Thrones and
I agree.
She-Hulk
I know.
on
I
the
know.
same level.
Because
I'm just saying, like I've felt that so many times now. I
Uh-huh.
feel like I just need to hear someone say, "Oh yeah, the ending of the season was amazing,"
Yeah, exactly.
and then
Ending of
I'll
season
actually
really
get
worked.
excited about
Yeah, I
it.
can understand.
because I just feel like every TV show I've watched in the past like year or so, it's like all the endings are so lackluster for the season.
This is
But
why you
the-
need to watch Better Call Saul. But
Yeah.
that's a different
Well,
story.
the lore is there. The lore is there. It exists. We have the books, and there's no open-ended thing this time around, right? Like, I think just that undercurrent of like we know what's gonna happen. Like, might as well do the prequel, right? Like, I feel like they have the opportunity to like do this story really right and do it well. And I think just it's interesting. The writing's good. The feelings you get from like at least watching the episodes as they come out, like
Yeah.
the anticipation, like that's part of it too. I think that's part of like being a Game of Thrones fan, and it's I recommend.
Yeah,
I mean-
this fan here has just been burned so hard. I
Not
just
trying
need.
to waste your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I just.
That's fair.
It's a time thing for me. It's not about like if I'm gonna invest time watching this, I want to know that at least there's the fan base or the people who love Game of Thrones thinks it's good enough, I guess.
He wants something to trust in, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
He
I just need
wants something to trust.
yes.
Well, you can trust in the first 2 episodes because it's overwhelmingly positive reviews. And I mean, don't trust us. Just go on Reddit or something.
I trust you guys more.
But I think he's worried about, he enjoys it really good and then he has a disappointment. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That like climax, because that can kill it for a lot of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it killed it for me for a lot
So
of.
I think that's his worry.
But then it's like, here's my question. If something like
is this gonna be a
a
therapy session?
series, no. If it-
Try to rehabilitate my.
So,
help
like,
start.
a series that's a whole serial, is it worth it to like not watch the whole thing if it has like a bad ending, or at least if someone's like, oh, like
Yeah.
these first episodes were great, the production value was amazing, like it definitely is something that is like you would like, and then it's interesting and it's the content that you like, and would you like not even attempt to watch like at least like the first couple episodes, or does that seem like pointless to you, or like
Yeah, I think in general, if it were something that seems to be like my type of thing, and I would check it out for sure. But the thing about House of the Dragons is that it has a lot of history behind it and baggage because of Game of Thrones. I think this is more of a specific situation for me.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say another
Wow.
example.
This is a therapy session.
Another example would have been like Heroes, where the first season is like some of the best TV ever, and
Yeah.
then the seasons afterwards are like
It's,
progressively worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So if I were to suggest that to anybody, I would say just watch the first season and you're good.
Yeah, the thing about that though, right, is that there's a conclusive.
There's
thing at the
there's
end.
like a sort of end to the story in the first season.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily you can watch the first season and be satisfied.
yeah.
yeah.
And that's just the way that they.
I actually find it ironic too, because like, one of the things in Stormlight Archive from Brandon Sanderson's book, they say like journey before destination, and I feel like that's true for a lot of things in life, but also in like watching things as well, maybe like movies and stories and stuff. Like enjoying what happens despite the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is something I would like to try to value, but I feel like the ending has so much impact on all of the story that like I want it to be at least decent.
I think it also depends on the genre, right? Because I feel like, for example, sitcoms, it's okay if it just, like, as much as I would like an ideal ending, it's okay for a sitcom to be kind of like, oh, the lackluster ending, but you enjoy the experiences. But for a story where it's like Game of Thrones, where it's like you have this overarching plot.
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that.
And the thing about that is there's so much build up, you know?
Exactly.
There's so much build up, so much setting up stuff for it to like all fall apart.
I'm curious because She-Hulk has this is this is one of the first, not the first because there was one division, but it's more than 6 episodes, and
Oh, really?
yeah, and they're already doing it a little bit different where it within these first 3 episodes we really don't have a sense of like this impending
Yeah.
doom that has
Yeah.
been consistent with the other
Yeah.
Marvel shows, where it's like, oh, there's this big thing that we're working towards.
Yeah, exactly.
That we've talked about before, how it kind of throws off the pacing
Yeah.
of these shows with them being only 6 episodes. But with She-Hulk, it's almost as if we're just kind of going through the story
Yeah.
and we're just seeing how the story's developing. And we had like a hint of a mystery in the last episode with those bad guys.
Yeah, those
those
that they
throwaway
try to
bad
attack
guys.
her.
Yeah,
So it's like,
like,
who the heck
oh,
are these
who
people?
sent them?
Sure.
What are they trying to do? But beyond that, we don't really have any sense of like over. And then the alien ship at the beginning,
Yeah.
which I really hope they don't just ignore that.
I mean, and then we saw Hulk just randomly leave in this episode too, right? Because he was
Yeah.
flying. So I don't know if he's
Yeah, let's
trying
try not
to.
to do too many spoilers.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But beyond that, it's not like there's
A main plot
A
that we need
main-
to solve. If anything,
yeah.
it just
Tying
seems,
it to the
it just seems
other-
like a
to
more
the
slice
MCU.
of life kind of thing, where it's like her dealing
right.
with the powers and whatnot.
That's, I mean, I got that from the first episode even.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But, you know, that's good though, right? Is that what you're implying? That's like a good
saying,
thing?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing just because it's different from how we've seen their formula be played out in the most recent shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've complained about that formula. So
Yeah.
I think that the fact that they're switching it up is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree because you know, the tone is so different too, where it's
Mhm.
like they're leaning into like the comedy side.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
like like you said, it's very slice of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like with anything, like even in our world, like you can't think about like the bigger picture all the time. Like everyone has their own issues and problems. Like
Yeah.
to tie it back to some bigger picture is like who amongst us like is living like that, you know? So
Yeah.
it's refreshing, I think, to see like just a singular story of like She-Hulk doing her own thing, being
Yeah.
a lawyer.
Yeah. So this is funny now that we brought up She-Hulk,
Daredevil.
because I find the criticism for this show, although I can empathize with some of it, at the same time it's interesting for me because it's like I get it, but at the same time it's like it's like, you know, I don't know, it's weird because it's like at the same time I'm like I don't know why, just for whatever reason I'm okay with it, you know
what
I'm saying?
criticism are you referring
me
to
too.
specifically?
Like, so like for starters, like I guess a lot of criticism is like, you know, stuff you see in typical Marvel, like for example they don't like the idea that for her character, at least for like the first episode, where like she's talking about certain problems but we don't really get to see those problems, so it's like a lot of explaining but not really showing
Oh.
or telling stuff like that.
Are you talking about like there were a lot of people who
Like
were like
exposition?
memeing?
Like expositions
Okay.
about that, and then I guess
too
some
much
people
exposition.
are not a big fan of the whole like I guess because there's a lot of there are a lot of like her like complaining about men, and there's sort of like this joke
Oh.
of men being sexist and stuff like that being played in
Yeah,
the show.
I see.
So
yeah,
there's stuff like
that scene outside of that bar or whatever. Oh my god, that was kind of like too on the nose for me.
That-
Yeah,
I mean, the thing about those
I'm just trying to be
things-
nice. My god,
The thing about that
gross.
is
It's
I
stuff-
completely, I feel you.
well, it's not even just that. Like, there's even like that one character where he says, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to the person. It's an it or something like that." He calls
Oh,
a girl
yeah,
an
that
it or
guy.
something like that.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of these like caricature characters in the show, but I get it. I think that especially with that scene outside the bar, it just I get the feeling, but I can also see like that this could happen.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, I,
don't
was
know,
gonna
but-
say thank you. It was corny, Af. I will give you that, but it's like that happens.
Yeah,
like,
it does
that
happen.
I get that
happens.
it does like perhaps happen, but like at the same time, the way they executed it just seems so like.
But see, that's funny because I actually was okay with the bar scene. I feel like for me, the only one that was really on the nose was the part when she says about the whole man catcalling her, which that's not a like
When she
that's
was talking to Hulk.
Hulk about that, which again, that would have not been a bad thing if we actually get a scene of guys doing that, so we can kind of empathize with it. But now it just kind of comes off a little
I
bit like
empathize with it.
I get
Like,
it, yeah,
no, I
yeah.
thought it. I actually like when she brought that up. I was like, yeah, dude. Like sometimes that makes you really angry, but
Yeah.
you can't do anything about
Yeah.
it. So it's like very like interesting that they like brought it up
yeah.
in the show, and then it's like I'm angry all the time. Like I can control this. Like I was
Yeah.
like that makes more sense than Bruce being angry all the time. Like because like women are like feel some type of way like way more often than guys do, and
Yeah.
but we like control it, and that's
That's-
just how it is.
I can understand that, but it's like, for example, if someone makes like, let's just say we have a black character and he talks about, I'm tired of these white people always look at me a certain way, which is like, as a black guy, I could get that,
I get
but
it,
at the same
but
time,
it can,
it's
the way
like,
that if you
it-
do it in a certain way, it can come off as like
It-
ugh.
it kind of comes off as like,
Black
oh,
As
that's
like
not-
Black Lightning.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Strange
like,
fruit.
that's number one, but number two, I think the issue is like, it kind of makes this assumption that it's like, okay, this is the black. It's not their personal experience. It's just a
Oh,
black-
general. I see.
It
what
kind
you're
of becomes
saying.
a generalization.
It's like, oh, she's this is
This is the woman experience.
Exactly.
right.
The
as
black
opposed
experience.
to this is how she's living her life, and you as a woman
Exactly.
can connect to these specific experiences. But
Yeah.
then she kind of just becomes like this faceless
yeah, so
avatar.
that's where it becomes kind of
represent
like
everything.
that, as opposed to it's her own personal thing.
I see
and
what
we're
you're
seeing
saying.
Her like projected thing, but actually, I was okay with the whole bar thing because you can kind of, and I don't know, maybe it's because I kind
Uh-huh.
of seen both sides, but it's
Yeah.
like you can kind of see, for example, this girl's not in the mood, but at the same time,
right.
these guys
are just completely
like
oblivious.
these guys are oblivious because they're drunk, they don't want to talk to a girl,
Oh.
and so I didn't feel like that was like any shaming. Like I don't know if maybe it's just my projection of reality, but I didn't get a whole like, oh, they're trying to shame men for talking to girls.
I
It's just-
feel you.
I just feel like it was like a wrong place at the wrong time. So
Yeah.
that's why with the criticism, it's such a weird thing for me because on one hand, there are moments again where you have this dude saying, "Oh, that's a girl, that's an it." Like you have this like on the nose stuff. On the other hand, you have situations where it's like, yeah, like she is this kind of person. That's just the dynamic. So it's like, I don't know. I'm a split when it comes to this. That's just how I feel about it.
I think it's.
I think the it stuff was dumb.
Yeah,
That's what I
Like-
think.
like-
I would agree. I think.
What kind of guy actually does that?
exactly.
An idiot.
An idiot. Yeah, exactly. I feel you.
What are your thoughts, Kristen?
It's a Marvel show.
Exactly.
It's a Marvel show. So like what are they gonna do? But like you know, no, that's a valid critique. I mean, I do think that she talked about getting catcalled and then they had the bar scene. Or no, they had the bar scene, then she talked about getting catcalled. I think it's just because like some of those experiences are universal. She can be a faceless avatar. Like people, I think at least women can like see themselves in that scene.
Yeah.
And like if everyone doesn't feel that, like sorry about it. But like, it resonated with me.
yeah. It's stuff like that. But like besides that, because I honestly don't really care too much about like those things are just minor little jokes that they put in the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's again, I think the comedy really helps it because like
Yeah.
if this was a more serious show, I would be more like I would
Yeah.
join the hate more. But
It's not like
be-
it's a
'cause,
fun
like,
Marvel
Yeah,
show.
because a character like that one lawyer guy can exist in a show like this.
Yeah.
But if he was in like if he was even in Winter Soldier, like who is this? What is happening right now?
Yeah.
Why is he calling girls it? Like what?
Yeah, exactly. It was just like it's
but
like
in this like humorous comedic show, it's like okay, I guess
because another issue that some people had, and this is I guess the same people who were complaining about stuff like that, is like the whole idea that like, oh, she's able to control her powers easier than Hulk. But what makes it the reason why I'm able to excuse that is because it's all for humor purpose. Like we see her freaking walking the She-Hulk stuff, and it's like it's all meant for comedy.
Yeah,
so, like,
and they did their job of like explaining it. So I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah,
mad at it.
I mean, that's what the whole monologue was about. You know, like
and it's canon too.
Yeah,
it is.
It's
It
all
is
about
canon.
control. I know. This is why. I mean, my complaint, and I feel like this was everyone's even before She-Hulk, is like I'm tired of Professor Hulk because it's supposed. That's Jenny's special thing is that like.
It's supposed to differentiate.
Yeah, she's like the smart Hulk, like, right?
Yeah. I guess.
Bring back dumb Hulk.
Yeah, bring back Hulk smash, dude.
Yeah.
Professor Hulk, what? Who?
Yeah.
Like, she's a smart one. That's the way it was supposed to be. Like that, like you said, it was a differentiator. And now it's like, it does feel like, what's so special about this? Like, he's like training her and stuff. Like, she would know how to do this all on her own because she's a smart Hulk, you know?
Wait, but I'm curious, what would give her that, like, where's, because her background's always been a lawyer, right? So why she would be smart enough to do these things if she's not, doesn't have a background in that?
To do which thing?
Like you said, she's supposed to be a smarter Hulk, right?
Well, yeah, I think she's just like
she has her she has her faculties. She's not like
okay,
a
so
berserker.
she's more emotionally controlled. Is that where?
No, just
no. Like in the way that Professor Hulk is like Bruce Banner as in the Hulk body. It's just like, oh, Jennifer Walters in Hulk body.
Yeah. There's no Hulk persona anymore. It's like he
Hulk
died or
his-
something.
Hulk is supposed
It's
to be a
so
separate
sad. I'm
persona.
like,
I get
Yeah.
that.
What are you doing with
Oh,
him?
okay,
Do
that's
you
what
let
they
him
mean.
out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Her persona is
yeah,
much
She-Hulk
smarter.
is the only one that's supposed to be like literally verbally talking like still herself.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Like Professor Hulk is like a MCU
Rare.
thing. It's an
Yeah.
MCU thing. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the comics, but like
okay.
they ran away with it in the MCU, which is like
Annoying.
now
Yeah.
She-Hulk and that like they can have conversations, and it's like I guess it's not that special that she can like control herself. Like
Yeah.
I remember how much I loved Hulk in the first Avengers movie,
Yeah.
and then now it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But-
Thor Ragnarok Hulk, man.
I missed that.
He's talking and everything.
I will admit though, I wish they kept the same backstory with her being chased by a mob, and then like for example, she gets knocked out and then Hulk, because that's her cousin, wants to give the blood to her,
Yeah.
as opposed to this backstory where the blood just happens to go into her skin, and then it's like,
yeah.
so I wish they did kept that.
Isn't there a couple different ways? I mean, it's happened a couple different ways how she gets like the
Her powers.
right?
Yeah, I just know that was like the main backstory, and I would thought that would have been much of a cooler backstory than the thing they gave you. But again, because it's a joke, it's like, I don't know, maybe I just forgive it more. It's weird because it's like, I feel like on paper I shouldn't really enjoy the show, but I find it somewhat enjoyable. I mean, I did cringe with the twerking scene, I will say that.
That was the biggest cringe for me.
And everyone keeps on bringing up, oh, Marvel started like this, and now look at where it's at. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's about what's it called? Slice of life show. So at the same time, it's kind of like, I can kind of forgive it, even though it's.
Yeah, it's a
Let
different show.
She-Hulk twerk. Let her twerk. You guys need to give her a break.
Yeah, sure.
It's a fun show.
It
Like, who
is,
cares?
it
Like,
is.
you know, She-Hulk twerks.
can't-
I'm sure other like TikTok lawyers probably twerk.
Yes.
Can't take it too seriously.
This is life now. Like, go on TikTok. This is people be doing that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
TikTok is life.
literally.
TikTok is a real
Hey,
representation of
Ask
life.
everyone younger than us. That's
Yeah.
who's inheriting the earth after. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't watch TikTok, so I can't actually say anything about it.
But you've seen twerking.
Of course.
Yes.
Twerking was the
that's
thing.
not
I mean,
going
it was a
away
thing when we were in
soon.
high school.
Got
So.
ABDC, man.
Because
Who was
best dance group
twerking
mentioned
on
that.
ABDC?
Oh, there's a
Yo,
lot of
was
crews
it?
that
a
were
lot of
twerking.
crews that were all about twerking.
God, man, I'm not gonna lie.
Super Crew?
Part of me.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Not all the champions. Champions didn't really do it.
Damn. Well.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of miss that show.
Yeah, me too.
What happened to ABDC, huh?
Yeah. Whatever happened. Tell us in the comments whatever happened to ABC.
Yeah, they could probably bring it back. Mario
I think
Lopez
that-
looks the same.
I mean, I remember the last
Mario
couple
Lopez
seasons.
is
it
the
just
show.
Didn't make sense who got to the end. That was my thing.
What?
In the last couple seasons of that show, it just didn't make sense who
Yeah.
got to the end.
They
Like,
really-
Wasn't there
they
at
really
one point
jumped
they
the
had
shark.
kids?
they had kids,
And they didn't win, but they were like in the second
they were
place.
like the second place. And I'm like, there's no way.
That's so
Like,
gimmicky. That's so
no way.
gimmicky. Were they choreographing themselves?
I
No,
think so.
It's because no,
No.
the way ABDC works is it's a voting system each week. At least this is based on my memory. I'm not sure entirely, but like you could vote to save certain crews,
yeah.
to make sure they're immune from being disqualified by the judges.
Mhm.
So that team was always immune from getting
Disqualified.
yeah until the very end.
Yeah, until the end.
Where it was a vote between two teams.
Yeah, and it just did.
No, there's something-
I remember not feeling satisfied.
Yeah,
I'm like, why
there-
they shouldn't be going against these.
There's
guys.
something called the first place curse, or at least I call
Like
it that.
Sports Illustrated curse. Yeah.
It's like whoever has first place when it's just two teams left
Is gonna lose.
is the loser.
I'm-
That has happened
Oh.
throughout all of ABDC.
It has,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm curious whether it's that intentionally. Like they probably, for example, like let's take Quest Crew because
Yeah.
I'm biased. I felt
Oh,
like
yeah.
they knew that crew was amazing, but they're like, why don't we put in the second to last place?
No, but it was not like that. It was voting system, like I mentioned earlier.
That's I
Like
guess.
Beat Freaks, I think they were like immune. I think,
Do you? Yeah. Okay.
and then it had to be between Quest Crew and a different crew that the judges had to like say, okay, this one passes, this one fails. Sorry.
Do you think any maybe like loyal fans of like the crews that were eliminated were like, I'm tired of seeing these guys, and they were like, I'm just gonna vote for the other team because they eliminated like my homies, you know? Because the dance community was
maybe.
like, a lot of people that like are in the dance community is like be like, oh yeah, I knew this person on that team, I knew this person on that team.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they took
That's
it
true.
personal.
That's fair.
Maybe, but also maybe statistically, right? Because like if you have a tourney of voting systems, this team, the first place team, got immune, right? So say they got like 1 million votes or something, and then the bottom two teams got maybe 600,000 votes each,
Sure.
right? Combine those two.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
people
higher
that are
than-
passionate enough about the teams that like were eliminated are probably like scorned, like voting on their phone,
maybe.
like Mario Lopez, like please, like eliminate this other team.
We know why Crystal watches the show. Mario Lopez.
Yeah,
If you
but
Same
did-
thing
if
was
you-
Saved by the Bell.
I love ABDC though.
If you
That was-
didn't, if you weren't into the whole mid 2000s dance scene, then you might not be familiar with who we're
With
talking
AB.
about.
That's America's best dance
we're
crew,
referencing.
y'all. Who
But,
they have?
it was a
No,
fun
they had
time.
one. They had
They
one
had-
in 2016 though.
They
In
did?
2016.
I stopped watching.
that was
Yeah, me
recent.
too. I must
I
have
stopped
stopped
watching.
watching.
2015 or
For sure
2016.
before
It was
that.
it was the Champions All Star one.
Oh.
It was
I
it was
did-
literally the weirdest one.
Did they have the kids back?
No, the kids were champions. So they brought back all the champions except for Jabberwockies.
I remember.
And then
Wait,
they
that
had-
was 2015.
To
I
make it
remember
fair.
that. I remember that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Was that?
I think it was 2015 or 2016.
Are you sure? Because that was
Probably 2015. I feel like it
Okay.
has to be
I
recent.
mean,
By that
What-
point, everyone's like too old to like
It
even
was in
dance
college.
anymore.
I was 100% in college because I remember I was voting for Quest so much.
Okay.
And then one of my friends, because we're in like a dance club, he really likes Kinjas. And he's like,
Oh.
Kinjas deserves to win. Kinjas this, Kinjas. I'm like, Kinjas is great. They're definitely great
Quest
dancers,
Crew.
but Quest Crew, they're like
Yeah, they
performers, you know?
were.
They're,
They
they're
were.
great.
I
They
love
were.
Quest Crew.
and Jabberwockies wasn't gonna return because they're like, we're
Nah.
the best.
yeah.
But also like who amongst the Jabberwockies is like an original member from like that first season of ABDC?
Right.
So it'd be like a totally different
It
team,
would be a
and
different
everyone's
team.
older. They can't pop and lock the same.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Super Crew was sort of like in Jabberwockies at some
Yeah,
point too.
some of the crews
Yeah.
were. That's another interesting thing about these dance crews because they'll be like in one crew and then they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
another separation crew and, it's
And
all
then
this
like
riveting.
Kinjas had B-Tech, who was a member of Jabberwockies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the dance community is like very intertwined, but also like Super Crew was like they were all about tricking, and like at a certain age you
Or
really
breaking,
can't
breaking.
be
Yeah,
And
breaking.
yeah like
Breaking, tricking, yeah.
breaking, tricking. You can't like do that after a certain age. Like I'm sure like they're it's gonna be a little lackluster compared to like when they first made it on the scene.
Head spins at 35 is
Yeah.
not the same as head spins at 20.
It's more
Yeah.
like neck breaks.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I stopped doing windmills with my head.
Mm.
That's why I
Yeah.
stopped doing a lot of breaking stuff because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, me
gonna
too.
hurt myself.
Yeah, I don't know how my brother does it now. Because my
Yeah, your
brother,
brother's insane.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
to
still
tell
doing
the
it.
people on.
How
the
old is your
audience.
bro?
My brother, he's 30 now, but Yeah,
Yo,
to
plug
all-
him, plug him
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
gonna plug him. My brother is like, I forgot what. I feel bad. I don't even know. What crew he is.
Awichimaru?
Orochimaru, but I don't know what crew he's in. But the point is, he's technically a professional breakdancer. So he goes in, he battles people, he goes to different
Events,
states and
yeah.
events and stuff like that. So the fact that he's still doing it and he's
Is
30,
a testament to
it's
his
crazy.
strength.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So if you had been doing it, you would be like breaking right now too.
it could be, I could be, but
Yeah.
I don't
Those
know.
breaking genes.
To be honest, I was more into because I was into dancing. For those people who don't know, I was really into dancing. In fact, back in almost it was 2009. I was in a talent show, so and people knew me from dancing from there.
You guys danced in the rallies too, huh?
Yeah, for
I
the most
remember
part.
that.
Yeah, we used to
In
do
high
that
school.
at high school.
In high
It's
So,
fun. That's
so it was
fun.
back in high school time. But I stopped because I got more into film. So that was my whole thing. And that, and I injured my bodies, and I was doing track.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, protect
But-
your body.
yeah,
protect
I
your
injured myself
mental.
so much during breaking. It's crazy.
yeah.
And then like gymnastics. Actually, for gymnastics, I feel like I injured myself less than breaking.
Yeah, gymnastics is
interesting.
not as. I mean, the way that we were
Well, there's
doing it,
technique.
it wasn't as hard on the body as,
Yeah.
as breaking was.
There's technique. There's like mats, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I think it was the mats. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And then you're in like a legit place where there's like other people around, and it's like you can't just be
Yeah.
like fooling
Yeah.
around and like just trying weird stuff,
Oh no, we did that. We were
Yeah.
trying
But you
weird
did?
stuff.
Oh yeah, we were
You guys were
creative.
getting
We were
weird.
very creative. I remember
Yeah.
that.
There's plenty of times, we fell on our heads a little
Oh
bit.
god,
Yeah.
neck.
I fell on my face before. Like I did a round off backflip, and then I didn't. It was near the beginning when I was learning it, so I was like, I kind of bailed, and then I literally the floor fell on my face. I fell,
Did all
Yeah.
your weight just go on your face?
face first, but I didn't feel anything though. I didn't get hurt. It was weird.
It's that
Okay.
adrenaline.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Really?
I was fine the next day too. So
That's good.
yeah. But I remember when we were first learning backflips, and
Yeah, I
like
landed
you,
on my
you
neck.
landed on,
Oh yeah, that was true.
Yeah.
it was intense.
It was interesting because OC would be very confident going for backflips, but he'd land his face. Meanwhile, I would at least land one, but I'd be afraid to do it. So it'd be weird.
Yeah.
You were just like
Yeah.
overly careful with it, which was probably a good thing.
Yeah, but
No.
even then, part of me is like, shit, I want to still go back and do it. You know?
Yo, I mean, like, COVID was the reason I stopped.
Yeah.
The gym's just all closed. Temp is closed too.
yeah.
It's insane, like permanently. At least the one that we went to
Yeah.
in Hawthorne, and then,
You guys stopped going to the one in Chino Hills?
it's we.
They had open gym, but then I don't think they've had it since COVID.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it. At least when I asked, they were closed, but I'll check again soon. But it's
Okay.
so hot right now.
Oh yeah,
Of course
summer
now.
It's
2022.
been pretty bad.
Yeah.
But the last time I did a backflip was at OC's place. On his trampoline. It was,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty recent. It was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Reliving the glory days. We were all looking at you two. We were like, hope he doesn't get hurt. We were like a little worried.
Oh yeah. Nah, you don't have to worry about me.
All right.
Yeah.
Dang, any other cool like physical fitness things that are like outside of the realm of the gym that you guys miss or have been trying to get back into? I know we've been like on like a rock climbing kind of kick
yeah, the bouldering
lately.
thing, yeah.
Bouldering.
I went bouldering two days ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hot.
I went yesterday. I was gonna say the same thing. The gym I went
Oh,
to.
you went yesterday. Nice.
Yeah, I went to Hangar 18 in Arcadia.
Arcadia.
Yeah.
Arcadia,
And-
dang. They have Hanger ATs all over the place. I
Yeah.
didn't know
No,
that.
They're
yeah, no, it's
spreading.
a
They're
big
spreading.
chain.
That's
They are all
crazy.
over.
They're
And-
like Rancho. I didn't realize there was one in Rancho. I didn't
Yeah.
realize there was one in Arcadia. There's Upland, Riverside, and then the other one.
No,
Orange.
they're a huge
Orange.
chain, and I went, and first of all, no air conditioning in there. But like,
Oh my god, really?
what Hangar 18s have air conditioning? Is it only like
I thought they do have AC.
Rancho
It
and
just really
Upland?
sucks.
yeah? No, this one no AC. It was like
Oh
Do
my
they have
So-
like, fans at least?
Because
yes.
Okay.
in Orange, did they have AC?
Did they?
Somewhat,
I
right?
think theirs was like
Little
you
bit.
said, it was like it sucked.
It sucked. Yeah.
This one, no AC. I went at the hottest part of the day with my
Oh,
roommate because I was
man.
like, oh, let's beat the heat. But we ended up making ourselves suffer
7 a.m.
more.
You gotta beat the heat.
No, but I was like, I thought it would be air conditioning, and it wasn't.
Yeah, that's.
And you know, every Hangar 18 is like in like a weird business park, right? And it was like
Yeah.
that. It was like a warehouse, basically. So they just had the big warehouse, like garage door open, and they had like some fans going. But it was like really rock climbing in the desert, almost.
Yeah.
But it was still fun. Also, if you're up for a challenge, that Hangar 18, and he said like the person that was kind of like walking my roommate through like, oh, like here's the bouldering, here's some safety tips, here's how you fall. He told us like, yeah, we're kind of known for like sandbagging, like our walls are like harder. Like, and
interesting.
I noticed that too, because like, you know, usually when you go to a rock climbing gym, there's a lot of like straight vertical walls, and then if you want more of a challenge, you go to the ones that are like kind of reverse incline. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Like incline towards yourself, right? So you're
Yes.
climbing like backwards.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost, it's harder because it's like you're doing just straight pull-ups.
We did some of those, yeah.
Most of them were like that there.
Oh, I see.
So if you're like want more of like a challenge, upper body workout, you can check out that one, because it was like there was barely V0s. There was actually one V0. The rest were like V1, V2, and higher,
Yeah.
and lots of like just like difficult ones.
We definitely spent less time at the Rancho one than we did Orange.
Why
Just
so?
because it was
How
so
so?
hot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It can, yeah, it gets bad. Stay cool out there if you're in California, y'all, because it's
Drink
been,
water.
It's been a heat wave. Be safe if you're doing any like campfire stuff. You know, we don't want any brush fires.
That's crazy. I'm just thinking because my college campus, I don't know why they did this, but like they used to have a rock climbing gym and they took it out literally like the year when I transferred there.
Something
Oh,
probably
okay.
happened. They probably didn't.
Liability.
Yeah, that's Hangar 18 is very strict about like, you go in there, you have to sign like a couple waivers, especially if you haven't been there for a while. And then depending on which one you go to, like they'll either make you watch a video, or they'll make you like do like a following course with someone there.
Okay.
Like an associate or someone that works there. But they're very careful about it, and that's why they're like such a huge chain, because you know they've
Yeah.
covered their bases.
Okay.
And so your school probably was like, yeah, anyone can rock climb, and then someone got hurt and they're like, we'll never financially recover. Get rid of this
Like,
rock
why
climbing
didn't
gym.
you explain the safety protocols to this person?
I was
Safety
doing my
protocols.
homework. I'm a student.
I'll be real though. Safety protocols, like when we were at Orange and they gave it to me, I was just like, okay, jump off this rock and roll. I'm like, that's it. That's it.
I mean, but some
Yeah, you
people
can
need
still
it.
tear your ACL.
Some people need it. Is the
It's
thing.
for it's for
Okay.
liability.
Not everyone
though.
is as elite an athlete as Scott Lou.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it seems very light, you know, like security protocols literally jump off the rock and then, you know, get on your back and that's it. You know, it's very,
But it's like I said, it's for liability, because like now they can't say like, oh, you didn't tell me I was supposed to fall some type of way, or you didn't tell me this was gonna be dangerous. But like, if
you didn't
they-
tell me it's going to be dangerous.
I know it's no
Looking at the
really
wall.
like. I know
I mean,
it's
I can just
true,
imagine
but
a
there are
middle-aged Karen who like twists her ankle.
Hey, let's
and
not
be
pick
like,
on Karen.
How dare you?
That's why they have to, verbally
Karen's a
say
sweet
these
girl.
things
I
guess
so
so,
that
yeah.
they can't get sued. Because
see.
be like, we told you, and it was in the
But
waiver you
like
signed.
waivers though, right? I feel like that's what they're for, right?
Yeah,
It
but
is.
I think it's just an extra step.
Yeah.
I think it's and
good.
it takes a
I mean,
minute.
it's better than nothing. I guess. Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, bouldering is pretty fun. Looks like we're getting more into it, so I'll be videoing you guys more.
If you guys have any fun physical activities to recommend to us, let us know. I like
Yeah.
hiking. I like indoor bouldering, but if you have any like recommendations of outdoor stuff, like let us know in the comments, y'all.
Definitely excited once it gets cold to
Yeah,
go back into
for real.
snowboarding. Yeah.
Well, I can't do that. But
Yes, you can if you believe in yourself.
All right, well, that was a pretty lengthy episode for us, and
Oh yeah.
talked a lot about random stuff. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
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 I think we did good though. At least we kept all the random stuff for the end.
Yeah, I like
feel like
that.
they all
Like
connected.
having
They're
like,
like, oh, these guys are talking about ABDC.
TV.
Stop.
Yeah. This white girl to name her two favorite black artists,
Uh-huh.
and she said, like CeeLo Green.
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else that would just like didn't make sense.
Random. Favorite black artist. Oh man, CeeLo.
I was just like,
That's their take, man.
I mean,
Hot take.
and he was like, it's gotta be racist. But that's not a real question. You can't be like, what's your favorite black artist?
I think
Sure.
he couldn't have got a better answer because that's so funny.
You know what would have been so cool if she named some painter. I'd been like, dang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what if she was like the author of the Three Musketeers?
Something like that. Yeah, like I'd been
Alexander
like,
Dumas.
damn, this girl.
Like, oh, deep cut.
This girl.
All right, yeah. And she's like,
But I don't even know, like.
Exactly. That's my point.
I would
Like,
say, other than Michael Jackson, it's like after that.
that'd be funny if someone said Michael Jackson. I'd be like, interesting.